Hello and a warm welcome to the Porsche Carrera Cup Asia 2015. As you can see, cars already on the grid and getting ready for the start of their first race of two. 10 laps here at the Sepang circuit, one of the most famous circuits in Asia and certainly one of the most challenging, but also almost a home. It seems a long time ago, back in 2003, where it all began here, and the Porsche Carrera Cup Asia has gone from strength to strength over the years, and it continues to be one of the most popular amongst the fans and the drivers, I may add. So many great stories and so many great drivers have come out of this series since it all began, and it continues to create and hone the skills and racecraft of the up-and-coming drivers of the future of Asian motorsport. Darrell O'Young, one example. Earl Bamber, another. The New Zealander flying at the moment. Heading to Austin in a few weeks' time, having won Le Mans. Darrell O'Young, of course, here this weekend racing in GT Asia and has gone all the way to the dizzy heights of World Touring Cars and of Le Mans, and continues to be one of Asia's top drivers. But there are many more stories. Nathavud, Charles Kwan, all have taken part in this series, and this year's crop is just as strong as ever. And Martin Raginja is in pole position for this race, and it's going to be a tough race because Chris van der Drift, without a doubt, has been the man of the moment this season for the Porsche Carrera Cup Asia, and it's delightful to have Sean alongside me, because you know these guys about as well as anybody does, especially as it seems the Antipodeans are doing the business at the moment, especially the ones from New Zealand.
Well, yes, the balance is certainly in their favour. There's been a few Australians come over here. We like to adopt Craig Baird, especially considering he's the winningest driver. We're going to adopt that word again in Carrera Cup history. That's worldwide. That's not just in this region. Very, very successful campaigner, has been doing this a long time. Multiple New Zealand, multiple Australian champion, and there's one of the New Zealanders on screen right now, Chris van der Drift, the most successful driver in the series this year, and that's following in some pretty seriously handy footsteps in Earl Bamber, who achieved a very similar sort of domination during his time with the Carrera Cup Asia Series. And of course we know exactly where he's gone. Ho Bin Tung, Another driver who's seen how handy Earl Bamber is as a regular too at Le Mans over the years, but a very handy sports car driver, and you've had a lot to do with him over the years.
Yeah, I saw him, you know, as a boy and man, so to speak, coming through the ranks, and Ho Pin Tung was the big hope, without a doubt, and proved to be so. Went all the way and continues to be right at the top of his game, and a lovely guy. Dutch-Chinese, an interesting combination. Hearing him talk is quite bizarre. I saw him this morning, and it always unears me the way he talks, and he's got sort of a half Hong Kong, half Tom Coronel sound to him.
Just looking at Rodolfo Avila on screen, now across to Craig Baird. Very, very successful campaigner in these cars. Been racing for a very, very long time. Saloon car style competition in New Zealand. Went into Porsches, very successful there. Went to Australia. Contested multiple championships with Carrera Cup. In fact, he's still running in the Australian Carrera Cup Championship today. Still a very strong competitor. Well, he's probably not getting the results that he would have liked. Multiple Australian champion in the class, but he's not a young man anymore either, Beardo. He's still very, very competitive though. And of course, dabbled a little bit in V8 supercars. And there's Buffetti, another driver you know. It's the Spark Models livery on the car. Looks very, very good. So very warm down there on the grid. The day's starting to heat up. We're talking yesterday about it being cool during qualifying because that was around 28, 30 degrees. But I think the mercury is starting to climb, as they say, and it's going to be a hot job there. Even 10 laps behind the wheel, cabin temperatures of up to 60 degrees is going to make it a little bit uncomfortable.
One man we haven't mentioned too much is Nico Menzel. He starts on the front row. He did a 209.519 to 209.487 by Martin, who starts from the pole. And Chris van der Drift, the championship leader, 209.5. So the times is absolutely nothing. There's a tenth of a second between the top three, really. Ho Pin Tung starts fourth. And as we go on the warm-up lap, we'll get a better indication as to the length and breadth of this and depth of this field, because it really is a magnificent sight. All identical cars and all beautifully prepared.
In fact, you're talking about there's only half a second, over a 2-minute 10 lap roughly.
Yeah.
Half a second between the top six down to Craig Baird, so very, very close. And that's really going to play out in this race. Interesting, the run to turn one. Who has the best line? I mean, we hear this in Formula One a little bit too, don't we? That the inside line to a right-hand corner, whilst it would be the logical place for pole position,
to be so,
no, because the grip is quite often on the outside line, because the perfect race line on the straight is the outside of the circuit. They don't run down the inside of the circuit.
Well, also, if you get a good run, if you get a good start, then you can slingshot out, because coming high and wide and then turning in gives you, if you're side by side, it's harder from the inside sometimes. I mean, you can make a block pass, but you're going slower, effectively.
But you've got to be careful with your braking marker. We've seen in a number of races already this weekend that two guys going side by side into turn one will end up, if you go too deep on the outside, you might have the advantage on the inside for the next left-hander. But if you go too far up the inside, the outside, and brake too late, you actually wash wide with the camber on that corner, because it's a quick interchange between the right-hander to the left-hander. And that's caught a couple of guys wide, and they've run a little bit further out, and that's allowed other drivers then to dive up the inside. I mean, we've got a field of 28 cars here today. You're not going to want to open the door for one, because if you do that, you could end up with 3 or 4 firing through, and then you've got all the work to do again. And a one-make series. These cars are identical on performance. You drop a little bit here or a little bit there, that could be tragic for your race position.
As you can see, we're going through the grid, and 2 classes, in fact, involved in this series. You've got the open class and the Class B, and they're very intense, both of them, for position and for results, and getting onto the podium if they can. And effectively, the Class B car slightly older, and obviously the open class very, very competitive indeed.
So it was Martin Raggett just starting on the front row alongside Nico Menzel and Chris van der Drift, alongside Ho Pin Tung, Rodolfo Avila alongside Craig Baird, positions 5 and 6. Ro Charles and Guido Perfetti are on 7 and 8. Bao Jinlong and Aleph Hamden make up the top 10.
Coming down this long back straight, like you say, it's a very long lap. You forget how long sometimes at Sepang, but you get an indication when you see his long back straight here, trying to warm the tyres, desperately trying to keep them warm over this long lap. Because when they get to that grid, it can be a minute or so before they actually unleash them onto that first corner and down that long run to the first corner. So you want to make sure that your tyres are up to optimal. Still a lot of racing to come from this year's championship. It's it might have been dominated by the Kiwi, who has 140 points going into this race and 6 victories to his name. Second place, Craig Baird, another Kiwi, 125 points. He's been picking up the podiums. They'll be racing here at Sepang, then in Singapore in part of Formula One, of course, and then in Shanghai, China, as part of the WEC as well. So, as always, very prestigious in terms of where they race, but it very deserving of the championship itself. The Porsche Carrera Cup Asia about to get underway here at Sepang. Can Nico Menzel get the start he wants and dive into that first corner? As you can see, the pole on the left-hand side, and this is what we're talking about, Sean. You know, who's got the advantage here? It's very slim, isn't it? Depends on how you get off the line, basically.
Could go either way, and it'll be an interesting drag race down to turn 1, and the prime line into turn 1 is obviously the inside.
Martin Raginger in pole position there. Green flag waves at the back. We're about to go racing in Sepang. 2 races today. And away we go. And Menzel did not get the start he wanted. And right off the line, Martin Raginger really got the line and got the start. Already, the Jepson cars looking racy. Into the first corner. Nice clean start into the first turn. And that was a good start from Rodolfo Avila of Macau in the number 20 Jepson car. Up to 4th place early on as they dive through turn 3. Looks as though we've got a good clean start from everybody. The whole field filing out and up to turn 4 now, led by the pole man.
Nico Menzel got jumped a little bit. We're talking about going too deep into turn 1 on the outside. He ran a little bit deep, and that allowed a position change to see Vanderdrift take away P2. And now he's coming under fire from Rodolfo Avila from behind. As you say, it looks like it's fairly clean. As Yui Tan in the second of the Jepson cars further back, Class B car, looking to make up some serious points in that championship. He'll be looking to move forward as quickly as he possibly can.
Very close indeed. The top 4, Raginger and Menzel, then Chris Vanderdrift in 3rd place. Hopington took 4th place, and as you say, Rodolfo Avila took 5th. Slightly out of shape there, the number 78, but gathers it all together.
Puncharan from Thailand has got a little bit untidy coming out of that part of the circuit, further down the order, and certainly running down the grass isn't going to help his track position. We're talking about just how closely matched these cars are, and 28 cars in the field, a couple of wheels off, or all 4 in this case off, and you're going to give away wholesale positions. But up front, Raginger's making the most of his start, and he knows who he's got behind him. Chris Vanderdrift, Nico Menzel, Rodolfo Avila, and a little bit further back will be Craig Baird.
And a push for position is that Vanderdrift as they come down the back straight. As you say, really pushing hard now for the battle for 2nd, 3rd and 4th place. Very close indeed, but it needs to be. This is only a 10-lap race. It really is a sprint race. And here comes Rodolfo, getting into the slipstream and trying to go through the middle, but he can't surely make it through there. And the door is shut by Vanderdrift. But he now tries to the inside. What great racing here. And up to 3rd place goes Rodolfo.
That was a brilliant move. He just stuck it up the inside, made himself a bit of a problem, made himself visible to the 2 guys in front who started to protect, and that meant that there was a little bit of contact, it looked like there too, between Menzel and Vanderdrift, and allowed Avila to just dive up the inside.
And there could be more, and well, there's a puff of smoke going into turn 1 from Raginger, but hopefully the car's okay. But Menzel and Avila were side by side going into turn 1. 9 laps to go. Menzel holds off. And they are pushing. Out goes the number 51.
That's Johnson Huang has gone in way too deep into turn 1 and in the outside gravel. Now, will that bring out a safety car? It could be difficult. If he can't get that car going again, that may well bring out the first safety car we've seen pretty much for most of the weekend. So we'll see how that one plays out. But Raginger is really pushing hard at 2:15.27 standing lap that time round. So he's pulled a second, over a second there. That's not, in fact, Johnson Huang. So there may well have been contact with the 98 car of Henry Richards. So there could be a bigger issue here. So the guys will try and extract that car as quickly as they possibly can, as now Chris Vanderdrift has Craig Baird looming large in his rear vision mirror.
Yeah, no kidding.
And this is for championship points, so Bairdo will be very keen to get past. So he's going to have to watch out for that chrome car, try and take advantage and get ahead of his compatriot.
Here's another look at what happened to Richard. Whoa.
Oh.
Well, that's mechanical for something, because that a car does not do that under choice. Yeah, by choice the driver would not do that for sure. So something went, and that was a nasty moment there.
Johnson Huang was also sideways somewhere on the circuit, but we did see a car just as the 98 car was starting to spin backwards into the gravel trap, lock a wheel heading down to turn 1. So it could have been that one a little bit further back in the pack had a spin, just anticipating that there may have been some drama as he went down to turn 1. Still Ragginger at the front of the field, 2:15.2.
Here comes Rodolfo V at the inside of turn 16, the last corner, go into second place. Does he make it? No.
Yellow flags. Yellow flag. Couldn't make the passing move.
Okay.
There's Johnson Huang at the top of the screen.
That's what's happened. Okay. So good move, smart move by Rodolfo not to overtake him. We have got safety.
Yep, safety car.
Now this changes the complexion of the race. And just to sum it up, Ragginger leading the race from Menzel. Avia is still in third place, although he was challenging. Chris Vanderdrift, the championship leader is fourth, then Craig Baird, and that's why we've got the safety car.
It's actually because the recovery vehicle is also bogged in the gravel trap.
Oh no.
So it's doing its job, the gravel trap rather, and unfortunately the recovery vehicle is going to take a little bit of time to get out. But anyway, safety car, the Porsche safety car, will lead the field around.
I was talking to the driver of this car last night, got a ride back to the hotel with him, and talking about how conditions are when it rains as hard as it was, because we were in a big storm after the GT Asia race. And he said that the conditions for the track after rain are so different compared to what we had yesterday. Because remember, we had 3 days of rubber down and practice, and then suddenly a massive downpour last night. So the conditions are very different. Boy, there was a big swing at the back there from one of the cars. Good start from Ragginger off the line, and Jepson and Rodolfo Avia in the number 20 on the inside there.
In fact, it looked like it was Henry Richard at the back who we saw just
big
had that
lock
contact.
Up from the number 99, Nico, really getting it out of shape a little bit, going into turn 1, locking up a little bit more than he'd want to, surely. And that's how we started. But anyway, going back, the track very different today compared to how it was last night. Important time of the race. It doesn't look spectacular, but this is where the drivers really earn their crust, so to speak, in terms of skill, because knowing how to look after the car in this safety car period and knowing how to react to the restart is the make and break of so many races.
Well, it is, and you see the drivers weaving. What that's about is trying to retain tyre temperature in their control Michelin tyres. We're looking at this replay. Look at this. It looks like something's just broken. Oh, and just spun him right and into the fence. There's nothing you can do about it.
Luckily
if
not into the path of anybody coming through.
Some sort of problem there, whether he had a tyre deflate or something had broken in the car, but that's a fairly significant hit. So disappointing for Henry Richard to go out of the race that way. But yes, certainly towards the front of the field, there's going to be plenty of action. The temperature too, it's going to be very hot. See, all that weaving is for tyre temperature. It often takes, sometimes they talk about 1 to 2 laps for a tyre from the start of the race to get up to its optimum temperature. And certainly with a standing start, you stop still waiting for the grid to come up and your tyre temperature is starting to drop off. So we talk about cold tyres when you dive into turn 1 on the opening lap. It's about the level of grip you have in the car. Now, when the tyre's at its optimum temperature, you can push hard into a corner. You know the car's not going to lose any level of traction. When the tyre's cooler, that becomes a bit of an issue. So you've got to think those things through. So the faster laps will come after the tyre has got significant temperature in it. So 2, 3, 4, so certainly 3, 4, 5 laps into a race is traditionally when you start to see the best of the tyre and the really quick times during a race. It's not the opening few laps. So the reason they're weaving is they want to try and keep all that temperature they'd built up over those first couple of laps in the tyre for the restart, because they're back to cooler tyre conditions again. Now, that's something the pro drivers understand. They do it all the time. For the AM drivers, the Class B drivers, that's not muscle memory. You don't think back to that sort of thing and just naturally react to the fact that on your first lap after a safety car, you don't have those grip levels again. So you might drive a slightly different line through the corner to ensure that you're not going to be putting too much pressure on the car and your grip levels. So there's a whole bunch of things I need to take into consideration. But here, we've talked about it a lot this weekend, it's also the cabin temperatures and the comfort level of the drivers. The airflow through those cars right now isn't going to be particularly significant. Be all right in the leading car, it's got air conditioning.
Yeah, no question about it. I prefer to be in the safety car than having the heat of the moment in the race car for sure. I think we'll be going back to racing, but while we're on this safety car period, let's just remind you of the championship. In the open class, Chris van der Drift leads the way, the two Kiwis leading the way on 140. We are going to stay a little bit more time. 140 versus 125, so it's still open. This is round 9 of the championship, and it'll be round 9 and 10 today, then 11 and 12 at Singapore, around the streets of Singapore, and then heading to Shanghai, China for rounds 13 and 14 in November to finish off the 2015 championship. Craig Baird is in second place and in contention here, as is Nico Menzel. He's third in the championship, yet to win a race this season, Nico, but certainly in a position in the number 99 car to do so today. Ho Bin Tung has won a race. He's fourth in the championship. He won in Shanghai at the start of the season. He's also had a few DNFs, which has knocked him down the championship. He now has 85 points, 2 ahead of Martin Ragager, who can really move his position and consolidate his position as a championship contender if he holds on to the lead today. In terms of the Class B entries, Yue Tan leads the way for Singapore. He has 117 points. He's only a few points ahead, though, of Francis Shah in second place. Wayne Shen, top 3 as well for him. And Vutikorn, who's currently second in the Class B series at the moment, 11th overall in this race, ahead of Francis Shah in 12th position, Wayne Shen in 13th. So it's a great battle also in Class B, which we'll keep an idea keep an eye on throughout there. At the moment, Class B being led by Egidio Perfetti, and he is currently 8th overall. We're going to have one more lap under safety.
That Class B list really is a who's who of sports car.
Yes, it is, isn't it?
Hierarchy in the Asian region, isn't it? Wayne Shen, Francis Chia, John Shen, Vutikorn.
They've been around forever doing this.
They have.
Love it. And it just proves you how good the Carrera Cup Asia and how good they are to their customers, I may add. You know, they were holding a dinner for them last night. The hospitality is immaculate as ever. The preparation of the cars, as always, Eddie Quay and his team doing a brilliant job as they've done forever. I think, you know, that's why these guys keep coming back.
It is, and they talk about it with great passion because it's an experience. It's a whole weekend. It's an event. It's not just a couple of 10-lap races. It's a whole experience, and it keeps them coming back. And we talk about those 4 people in Class B that have been in this sport, as you say, forever in the Asian region. If it wasn't so successful, why would they be here? It really is a great format.
Yeah, and it's interesting. I mean, obviously, it's a golden era for Porsche at the moment. I was very lucky enough to have an interview, a radio interview with Mark Webber recently, and he preparing for the Nürburgring and of course for Austin in a few weeks' time. And he was saying that you know, being part of the Porsche family, having been at the dizzy heights of Formula One, he's just bringing out his book called Aussie Grit. And in it, he's describing what it takes to become a Formula One driver coming through the ranks, but also leading on to that, retiring from Formula One and being taken on by Porsche, the factory team, and effectively a quest, a 2-year quest, if not longer, in terms of development, to try and win that prestigious race. And of course, they did it this year, and they're on to try to take Toyota's World Championship away from them. In that beautiful car, the 918, and you know, just to be part of the Porsche family in this era right now, so special.
And how competitive is the field? Mark Webber's only just now at the Nürburgring 6 Hour won his very first race. Well, yeah, okay.
It was.
Let's not get into the cricket.
Let's not get into the cricket. It was Earl Bamber. That's why I'm saying a product of this particular series.
Absolutely.
Who won, and that is so. Anybody who's ever been involved in the Porsche Carrera Cup Asia can take their hat off and be proud of that fact that one of their own, a guy that's come through the ranks here in Asia from New Zealand, won Le Mans, and that is fantastic.
I think the aggressive weaving is going to start with a plomb shortly because the safety car is in this lap.
I think you should keep going.
Martin Ragginger, we've got plenty to talk about, but I think they want to get on with the racing.
Compete in the race, I mean.
Yeah. Well, it's a good-looking car, and I'm not sure where it'll be in the field, but he's certainly turned plenty of laps today. Not going to rank him in the overall rankings, of course, but it'd be nice to see the guys go racing again. That's what we're here for, to see these guys go at it.
I've got a prediction. Watch out for Rodolfo at the restart. This is his bread and butter. He loves this sort of stuff. Nico Menzel, likewise, knows the opportunity is now, and they've got a pounce coming out of the last turn. Hoping Tung will want to get a good start too. Here we go then. 6 laps to go. It's going to be a big sprint here for round 9 of the championship. They cross the line and we're back to racing. Martin Ragginger goes to the outside, headed towards turn 1. Defensive driving from Menzel. He has to. Rodolfo Avia got a good start. Tries to slingshot round the outside but won't do it. Menzel holds on to second place. He's locking up there, the leader, but coming through nicely. And it's close between the top 4. It was a mistake from Martin Ragginger as they came through turn 1, and he's really packed them up behind him. Menzel with a chance now. Turn 4, an obvious place to overtake. And here we go, the famous Sepang circuit. He'll try and take a defensive line, but that makes him slow out of 4. It's going to heat up nicely.
Avila might be able to cross back over and underneath Nico Menzel on the exit. He's tried, he's got side by side, but now he's on the outside. He's got the wrong line through to turn 5. Gives him a bit of a tap from behind just to let him know he's there. The Jepson driver is very racy. You predicted this. You predicted he'd be the man to watch. And Vanderdrift is just sitting in a bit of a watching brief behind him. Not a great start by Craig Baird, but he's moved back in now onto the tail of Chris Vanderdrift. So that battle for the championship is still well and truly alive.
Next opportunity to overtake is into 9, which is the left-hander coming up. This is a short straight, but a chance under braking, and here goes Menzel for it. Can't quite do it. Round the outside goes Rodolfo. He'll try and get the drive up the hill now, and then you have 2 more right-hand turns. This one a little tight, then it opens up to turn 13 and 14. But what an almighty battle here. There'll be 5 laps to go. And, whoa, he gets slightly wide as Martin this time. And every time he goes a little off track like that, he loses a little bit of traction. And that just allows those chasing him, including Nico Menzel, Rodolfo Avia and Chris Vanderdrift, to catch up even closer than they already were.
Road Charles looks pretty racy back there in 7th position too, onto the back of Ho Pin Tung, who's really driving very hard. We're talking about how closely matched the cars are and not wanting to lose too many tenths by being offline. When you start to protect your race line, then you are offline. Now we're going to see a couple of potential changes.
Side by side, Nico Menzel's got the inside line. Classic overtake at Sepang. Will he hold it together? Rodolfo's trying to push his way into second place. He's side by side now. Poor old Martin Ragginger is getting ragged and knocked out. Knocked from first to third. He will not like that. And Menzel now picks up the lead.
Not for long, though. I think Rodolfo's going to just inch ahead as they come into the braking market. Now look at Craig Baird in the all-chrome number 12 Clearwater Racing car behind. He's doing everything he can to get past his compatriot Chris Vanderdrift, the championship points leader.
Wow, this is classic Porsche Carrera Cup racing, just as you'd imagine it. And now, Nico Menzel leads the way, the 17-year-old German, following in the footsteps of his father, who was a multiple champion in this particular series as well. The yellow peril, as I used to call him. Christian, always fun to watch.
Craig Baird has made that move on Vanderdrift, so that is exactly what he needs to do. If he's going to make an impact on the top of the championship points lead, on the championship board, he's going to have to keep in front of Chris Vanderdrift here this weekend. See him in the KLM group car, the colours that Earl Bamber used when he was in the Asian region, competing in Carrera Cup Asia. And Craig Baird's got the bit between the teeth now. Next one in line is Martin Ragginger. So Francis Chia has gone out. It's Marcel Chia, the second of the open road cars, has had a spin. The Class B cars further back in the field. And Ho Pin Tung now has Rodolfo, who's been forced back. So somewhere along the line there, Rodolfo's had an off and come back through. So whether Martin's decided to return the favour and shovel his way through.
Yeah, that would be interesting.
So this race is not over. We've got 4 laps to go, and it's getting interesting. But Nico Menzel's got the advantage now. He needs to push and push hard.
Interesting also to see how Chris Vanderdrift, still there in 4th place, is biding his time. Craig Baird 5th, Ho Pin Tung 6th. And, well, this opened up nicely. That last lap really did change the whole thing. And I knew that someone was going to make, from the restart, something special, and I thought it was going to be a Rodolfo. It was for a moment. He's dropped right back, and let's see if he can make it back through. But Menzel making work of this now and doing a great job in the number 99, coming out of that last corner where he made it action last time out. Through comes Charles, Sky Angel.
Oh, more contact. Rodolfo really is fired up, isn't he? He wants it. Oh!
Down the straight. The stewards might have something to say about that, but clunk they went. Menzel crosses the line. Martin Raginger in second place. Baird, Van der Drift. Rodolfo bumping and bruising his way. Hoping to having to take the brunt of that. But the Budweiser man stays where he is, and Rodolfo takes another chunk at him. Into turn 2. He's got the better line, has Hoping Tung through there.
Now that's opened the door. He's got to be very careful behind him now. There's attacks coming further back. That's Perfetti. The leading Class B car is right on the tails. White car with the red wheels.
And leading Class B, but fancies a chunk at these two. Why not?
Oh, I don't think I'd get too close right now. Just let them sort it out for a lap or two and then make your charge. You might be able to pick up both positions.
If they're not careful. Rodolfo leads the pair of them out of 4 and into 5. But look at this group. Throw a blanket over them. 5 abreast. Almost, not quite, but they could be. We get down to turn 9, that just might be the case. But there's 5 of them, line astern now, led by the Jepson number 20, Rodolfo Avila.
Well, you predicted it. He's your man. He's doing a good job so far. He's had a hiccup somewhere along the last couple of laps that we've missed, but he's fighting back up to position number 5. He's at the championship points leader immediately in front of him. Craig Baird still all over the back of Martin Raginger, looking to try and take that position away and more valuable championship points. Was there 15 points? I think this is the deficit between the 2 New Zealand drivers. So this will be valuable points for Craig Baird.
Vutakorn still in second place in Class B. Hoping Tung. Spoke to Hoping Tung, really enjoying being part of the Carrera Cup Asia and really enjoys the car. I said, you know, do you think he'll stick around? Because he's done a little bit of Formula E and a few other championships, and obviously his background is single-seaters, but like so many of them, feels very comfortable racing Carrera Cup Asia because it's the right combination of being a great race car and a great challenge even for the best drivers in the world. So then they cross the line again. Nico Menzel's gap just under a second, so he can't relax just yet. And there's still plenty of fighting to go on. 0.99, 0.919 to be exact. Baird still third, but he's just a second back. Van der Drift, the fellow Kiwi, just behind him. Then Rodolfo Avila, who's been in the war for sure in this one. 2 laps to go, and look at this, 3 abreast as they go into 2.
Perfetti, Charles, and Alef Hamden now is in the mix. The 72 car, the third of the cars in there. Now there's another one. It's Bao Jinglong is moving into contention too in the 55 car. So there's plenty of action still left in this race.
Now, interestingly enough, an incident involving car number 20. That, of course, is the man we've been talking about all race. And that is Rodolfo Avila. And Craig Baird is under investigation from the stewards.
Well, that's interesting. Something we didn't see there. I wonder whether that perhaps may be involved with
why Rodolfo went backwards, yeah. Well, we'll soon find out. But either way, he's carving his way through. He's ahead of Hoping Tung. And Egidio Perfetti, the Swiss-Italian driver, doing a brilliant job for Class B and 7th overall in the number 88. Oh, through goes Alef Hamdan. He's, of course, in the open class and trying to get through. Bao Jinglong just behind him in 10th position. Then Vutakorn, second in Class B, and Francis Cha in 12th position ahead of Wayne Shen. Yue Tan, who, of course, leads the Class B championship. He's down in 14th place and 5th overall in Class B at the moment, so work to do for Yue. 2 laps to go. It's going to be a cracking last lap for sure. Rodolfo still 5th place, but under investigation, and that could change things in terms of the overall points for this race and how the result pans out.
Probably a little surprised that the speed is a little lower than we would have expected. A 209.4 was pole for Martin Raginger. The best we've had today is a 212. So
but I
track
think that's
temperature
because of the rain last night and because of the track temperature now.
And we had a very heavy fall this morning too before we all arrived at the circuit. So very fresh, not too much rubber down. We've had a couple of races this morning. but not too much to add to the grip level. So you may well be right. That's the big difference. But it changes a lot here at Sepang. Not only the weather conditions are difficult to predict, but often the circuit conditions are difficult to predict. So you see guys like Alex Young.
Oh, spin round and just knocked from behind.
That's disappointing. That was a great race up to that point.
And that was Rochal spun round for a minute there. This is the last lap, and a good last lap previous to this one by Nico Menzel. Did a 2:12.3.
Oh, that's Francis Chia spinning around behind. That's the Class B contenders. There's some level of contact back further in the field. And the open road car on the right of screen there, Francis Chia.
Well, the open road could close the road any minute.
Gee, that's certainly
Francis
bring
Chia,
everybody under control.
Bags of experience, but won't enjoy that experience, that's for sure. And also involved Rochal, Sky Angel.
Well, he was involved, I think, in that contact, wasn't he? Or was that, in fact, Alif Hamden was involved with Perfetti or with Rochals in that prior corner?
Well, out of 9 comes the Jepson car of Rodolfo Avia, and Ho Pin Tung is looking to try and get past him. The car with damage hanging off the back of it, and that car is going nowhere. But it is the last lap, so I don't think we need to stop anything. They are out of danger. They're not going past that incident again under speed. Rodolfo Avia, oh, more trouble here.
It's back in the Class B ranks. That looks like it's Wayne Shen might be able to take position away there. It might in fact have been John Shen in the 28 car further back, so Ringo Chong perhaps part of that group. So that's a little bit further back in the pack, 17-18. Waiting for Nico Menzel to come through the final corner.
So Menzel, who is 3rd in the championship, is helping himself to round 9 victory and the checkered flag ahead of the poleman, Martin Ragginger, who was pushed and knocked wide earlier in the race, but still takes 2nd place. Craig Baird takes 3rd place ahead of Van der Drift, the championship leader. So that has been a very, very potent podium for the championship in terms of chasing the Kiwi, Chris Van der Drift. He's still got good points out of it. And as we heard earlier, that car 12, that is Craig Baird, and Rodolfo Avia under investigation, and that could change things again, especially for Chris Van der Drift if Baird is in trouble. So we await to hear the stewards take on this, but the race won and lost effectively by Nico Menzel at the restart. He used that last restart lap to make his charge, did it brilliantly into the last corner, and it was a classic Sepang overtake, and the 17-year-old youngster takes his first win of the year at the perfect time to do it. And he's been he was brilliant in Thailand too, got a couple of podiums there, and he's just got improved as the season's gone on. And I think those who've been following the championship all year are not going to be surprised by that victory. Team Star Chase, of course, another stalwart of the series and of racing here in Asia full stop. So race 1 is in the books, and they will be doing it all again later in the day for round 10 of the championship. Here's the result then. Nico Menzel of Germany wins the race in the number 99. Martin Ragginger with 86 car taking 2nd place. Craig Baird 3rd. Chris Van der Drift in 4th. But like we said, Baird under investigation, as is Rodolfo Avia, who crossed the line in 5th place. Ho Pin Tung chased him home in 6th. And Egidio Perfetti, great result in Class B. Winner overall, but 7th overall in the race. Ahead of Vutikon and Bao Jinlong, just between them. He, of course, in the open class. Vutikon takes 2nd in Class B. And Wayne Shen rounds out the podium in Class B. Well, that safety car really did change the complexion of the race. As Sean was saying, that conditions very different than they were yesterday. Times a little slower compared to what we saw in qualifying, but still 2:12.9 by Menzel. As His best lap, a 2:12.3. So still pretty quick. Only Martin Ragginger anywhere close to that particular time. And into the pits they come. Now the real work starts with the engineers and the mechanics now to make sure that the cars are fettled for the second race of the day. And so often the guys that come through of a weekend are the ones that keep their concentration and look forward rather than just rest on their laurels after the first race and think that it's all over. There's Nico. Good race. Drove well, concentrated the whole time, chose his moment well. And that was a good piece of racecraft by the youngster. Igor Mata, one of the first to greet him. The German contingent, happy. So well done to the team. PICC team star chase with victory. In a moment we'll hear from the young German as he takes his helmet off. And well done to Perfetti too, really impressed with him.
Car is the background. We'll get you in front of your car if you don't mind.
So Menzel, Ragginger and Baird, your top three. We'll hear about that investigation by the stewards. But right now, let's head down and hear from our race winner in the number 99 car, Nico Menzel.
Nico, how was that race for you? Very hot, but how was the safety car? How did that break your concentration?
No, not really. So the problem was we used new tires, and yeah, it was a bit. I thought maybe it could destroy our strategy because of that. Maybe we couldn't use the new tire, but yeah, the tire was good. Anyway, also after the qualifying session and now the race session, and also after the safety car, so it's fantastic to win here.
Now you've got to back it up in race 2.
I hope so, but it's going to be difficult, of course. But I try my best.
Congratulations.
Right.
So there, a little bit cautious in terms of, he was worried a bit about whether it would all pan out, but it has perfectly, and remaining conservative about his hopes for race 2, but he hopes so. And good modest interview there, and certainly not counting his chickens for race 2, because he knows that he'll need another good start like that. He got a little bit of luck from the safety car, because I don't think he was on for victory. Martin had it in the bag, but in the end, it helped him a great deal. Now, don't forget, Class B also racing for their title as well. And that was a very, very good run by Egidio Perfetti for the Spark Motorsports team. Let's head down once again to Parc Fermé to hear from our Class B winner.
Egidio, how was that race for you? It looked very exciting from where we could see it.
It was an awesome race. No, I really enjoyed it. It was terribly hot, but there was some good and fair fighting. So I really, truly enjoyed it. And yeah, it was close on a couple of occasions, but it was pretty awesome. And also up front, I think it seemed they were having a good fight. I think in the heat of the moment at the front, at a certain point, I was next to Rodolfo. And then he soon passed me again, but I managed to fend off the other guys that I overtook at the beginning, so I'm pleased with that one.
Congratulations.
Thank you. See you tomorrow.
How sweet it is for Mr. Mentos. Well done. So the highlights of round 9 of the Porsche Carrera Cup Asia 2015. Martin Ragginger on the left-hand side of your screen, getting away well from the start. Good also start from the Jensen team. Rodolfo Avia looking to the inside and looking to try and muscle his way through. Hopen Tung trying around the outside. Menzel locking up as they went into turn 1 and losing out as well. High and wide line isn't necessarily the best one, especially if you do lock up. But away went Raginger at the front. And a good clean start. But then, big moment. Takeoff for Omri Richard, and that was a very scary moment, and that brought out the safety car because he was beached in the gravel at the first turn. And that really was a massive disadvantage to Martin Raginger because, of course, look at the lead he had, and there was going to be an almighty fight behind him, and that would have only played into his hands had he had the chance to continue the race. Menzel making it up to second place at one point before the safety, and that's where he would stick. Rodolfo Avila third. So the safety car came out while they took the beached car away, and at the restart, Rodolfo Avila got away well. Menzel got away even better. Martin Raginger held the lead, but then locked up going into turn 1, and that allowed the others to catch up, and then it was really gloves off. Menzel going into second place, Rodolfo Avila in third, and as they came out of the last corner, they basically nerfed Martin out of the way, and through went Menzel. Baird, Van der Drift, Rodolfo Avila, all in the mix, as was Ho Pin Tung. Another off. This time, the number 60 of Cher. Rodolfo Avila continuing to fight out of 9 with Ho Pin Tung in the closing stages. And there was plenty of drama towards the end of this race. But in the end, it was Nico Menzel that came through. Tough race, but took it in his stride. And here is your winner. Congratulations to PICC Star Chase as well. And no mean feat for the 17-year-old. To his right, most experienced and successful Porsche Carrera Cup driver in the history of the game.
Congratulations to Craig. Great race.
Wonder how many of those trophies he's got.
Presenting the second place trophy, Mr. Art Beyer, CEO of Sime Darby Auto Performance, presenting to Martin Raginger. Presenting the first place trophy.
Congratulations to Martin Raginger with that second place. It helps his championship no end. Although he'd like to have seen himself on the top, I'm sure. First win then for Nico Menzel of 2015, and the perfect time to do it.
Let's get a picture. Also, can we have our 3 pictures ready to... Let's give a big round of applause to our podium finishers. I suggest we get out of the way while they spring the champagne.
Not too much, mate. I got another race to do in this overalls. I don't want to stink of champagne. He's got so much to learn. Yeah, that's it. You suck on that, my friend. Drink as much as you like, then I can beat you in race 2. Martin's no fool. Great stuff. We turn our attention now to the Class B celebrations.
Round number 9 in the Class B division. We will now present third place, car number 16, Modena Motorsports, Mr. Wayne Shen.
Wayne Shen taking third place, and another podium for the Modena Motorsports man.
In second place,
Great to have him up there.
18,
From Hong Kong, of course. And one of the great characters of Asian motorsport, Futikon. Intra Rap Hapusak. to be precise. But congratulations to the man of the moment, Perfetti, on the top. And you heard from the interview. There you go, gives us a little Schumacher.
Now to present our trophies for third place, Mr. Carl Eisenbeck, Marketing Director of Porsche Asia Pacific, presenting our third place trophy to Wayne Shen of Podium Motorsports. Congratulations, Wayne. Great race.
So congratulations to our top three in Class B.
Presenting the second place trophy, Mr. Arndt Beyer, CEO of Southern Derby Auto Performance, presenting to Utikorn in Brabhuvenstock. Great race, Utikorn. Now to present
Good points for Utikorn as well. Ty very excited about the future. Going to Thailand, of course, as that country now gets more and more good circuits and attracts championships like the Carrera Cup Asia.
Also, we invite Mr. Mono to present the Special Medal Award, PCC Medal Award, to Mr. Paul Tressler. Great race, Paul.
Well, Paul Tressler getting the medal as well. Good to see him up there.
Gentlemen, onto the middle podium. Onto the middle podium all together.
And a quick photograph. And, of course, they, too, will have to do it all again and go back to the pit lane and prepare themselves.
There we go.
So then, that concludes round 9 of the Porsche Carrera Cup Asia. Hope you've enjoyed it, and we'll be back again with round 10. More competition from this, and the championship is hotting up nicely. We'll update the championship points for you and let you know how it stands going into round 10. But that concludes our coverage of round 9. Congratulations to our winners, Perfetti and Menzel, in round 9.
GDO, Utikorn, and Wayne Shin, and also